Greetings all, welcome to Everything Borrowed, where we sit down to share stories and have conversations with entrepreneurs to artists and everyone in between. Today's episode is powered by Blake's Hard Cider, 100% fresh pressed, all natural and gluten-free, straight from our family's 75-year-old farm in Southeast Michigan. Find us in your local grocer or have Blake's direct ship to your home by visiting blakestore.com. Use promo code EverythingBorrowed to receive 10% off your first order. Must be 21 years of age. Please enjoy mindfully. My guest today is Vince Spinnato, cosmetic chemist and certified nose. Vince knows a thing or two about beauty with a career spanning over 25 years in the personal care, cosmetic, and fine fragrance industries. As president and CEO of TurnKey Beauty and Vincenzo Skincare, Spinnato has formulated and developed hundreds of products. Spinato's celebrity clients include Jennifer Lopez, Gwen Stefani, Laura Luft, Carrie Underwood, Victoria Beckham, Seth MacFarlane, Jessica Simpson, Michael Jordan, and Lindsay Lohan. He recently published a memoir called My Pursuit of Beauty. A cosmetic chemist reveals the glitz, the glam, and the batshit crazy. Hope you enjoy the episode. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Of course, thank you for having me. Of course.
Yeah. So, I'm very excited to talk with you because I don't meet many people who, bump elbows with the stars, and you have made you're a serial entrepreneur in beauty, cosmetics, and I'm just curious what led you to go down this path in the first place.
Well, it's a little bit of a funny/embarrassing story, but where it all came from. But honestly, I always got to tell the truth of the story. I grew up as early as 7, 8 years old, sitting on my grandmother's lap watching The Young and the Restless, the soap opera, and they had a cosmetic company and a fragrance company in that show. And that's literally where I got the idea from. I was enthralled with the show. I used to watch it with her, and I wanted to kind of mimic what they were doing. So they had a beauty company, and that's where the idea came from at early, like 8 years old.
And so from 8 years old, you chased this dream. I did, to Hollywood. Where did you grow up out as a West Coaster and in the glam and glitz and all of that, or was that a pursuant dream that you followed?
No, yeah, it couldn't be any more opposite. It's probably closer to how you grew up, like you were saying. I grew up on the Jersey Shore.
Okay.
So South Jersey, in Ocean City, and Vineland, which is right below Atlantic City. Mm-hmm. So it's very, very South Jersey. So kind of grew up on the ocean and Jersey Shore. So nothing close to celebrities, or that kind of stuff or anything. But I, as early as 10 years old, after watching that show for a while, I tried to make my first fragrance in my sister's Easy Bake Oven, and I still have a burn on my hand to actually prove it. So as I went through grammar school and high school and stuff, I had a very good friend that was a graphic artist, studier in high school, and in my junior year of high school, I had her actually develop a logo for my fictitious company and my first fragrance bottle, and I still use that to this day, 30 years later. So I really early on, I knew I wanted to do it, and we actually tried to make it in reality as early as junior in high school.
That's amazing. And how does one become a professional nose, a certified perfume maker? That seems like there's a lot of chemistry, science. Is it, is it a studied profession, or is it an art for you?
Both, actually. There are perfumers you can go and actually learn. Everything I learned was by on training, on the job, I guess, if you'll say. And just like a certified nose is really very similar to a sommelier for wine. You have to kind of learn and change your palate and be educated in it, and that's pretty much exactly what it is. Your perfumer is kind of like the master's degree of fragrances, and a certified nose is kind of right under that. So I'm really leaning towards being more of a perfumer now. But the certified nose means I trained myself for many, many, many years, and on all the essential notes and what goes together, what doesn't go together, right, what to direct from, how to put them together. And honestly, it really is the closest comparison is really a sommelier for wine. It's very similar to training your palate and your taste for actually being a wine sommelier.
What's your favorite cologne?
For myself personally, I wear a lot of Tom Ford's ones. I wear Black Orchid from Tom Ford. That's my favorite one that I wear, and I change it up. He has one called Fucking Fabulous is what it's actually called. Excuse the language, but that's actually what it's called. So I wear that one also. So I switch it up.
I love kind of exploring. I can't say I have one scent that I stick with, but it's fun to explore, for the different occasions. So I wanted to kind of talk to you a little bit. So you obviously went from New Jersey, and you kind of had this dream, and it seems like, from a very young age you were invested in it. And then you get out to Hollywood, and how do you begin your career, on the West Coast?
I got in the car and I just, at 20 years old, and I just drove. I didn't know where I was going. This is like totally true. I didn't know where I was going. I don't know if I was going to end up in Chicago or Denver or, just Philadelphia, which is like 45 minutes.
Right.
I don't know what I was doing. And I just drove and drove until I got to Malibu, California. And at that point, either I had to stop or go to Tokyo. The ocean was there. That was it. So I ended up in Malibu. And I said, I'm going to go to Hollywood and try and make this a go. And as when I got to Phoenix on the way to California, about 6 hours still away, I had picked up a Harper's Bazaar magazine. This is 1995. I picked it up and I saw an article of a woman in there, and she was famous for a thing called a kitchen cosmetics, which is kind of like taking products from your refrigerator, and like vegetables and turning them into like mud masks and that kind of stuff. And she was in Beverly Hills, and I called her from Phoenix, and I said, I'm going to be in California in 2 more days, and I'm going to come work for you. And she's like, what? And she thought I was a lunatic. I just called her out of the blue. And so 2 days later, I show up, and it's kind of, I'll never forget the day, because it was the day of the O.J. Simpson verdict trial.
Yep.
So that's the day I got there, and I always knew about California. Oh, it's like tons of traffic and tons of people. And I got there, and there was nobody on the street. It was all like evacuated. I didn't know what the hell was even going on. And I realized that morning they called, said, oh, we're going to have a verdict in the OJ trial. So I walk into her salon, and everyone's watching the OJ thing, and go, I know we're all kind of preoccupied right now with this, but I'm going to be back tomorrow, and I'm going to work for you. And it's like, she's getting ready to call the police on me. And I called, and I showed up the following day, and I go, I'm here. I'm going to work for free as long as you need me. I want to learn everything about chemistry, how to put things together. And she said yes. And so I worked for free for her for a year, and I lived off a credit card, which was not a good idea financially, but I did. That's how I started. And I just started learning everything from her.
Wow.
That was in 1995.
That was in 1995. And so,
right.
You have a history you talk about in the book. You from your start, your humble beginnings in 1995, you start getting ingratiated into the culture, and following the glitz and the glam and the batshit crazy, as you say in your book. And I'm curious, what was your first interaction with a Hollywood celebrity, and what was your experience in that? Are you helping them develop products for themselves? Are you helping them with their own skincare and health and wellness regimens, or is it a little bit of everything?
Really everything. We really develop, now we develop hair care, skincare, bath and body, baby products, pet products, fine fragrances, really everything you can imagine. But my very, very first real celebrity, because I was working in Beverly Hills for this woman for free, and right down the road on Rodeo Drive was a company called Bijan, which is a famous designer and perfume house. And I walked in there too, and I said, can I work on a project? Anything? I just want to keep. I'm working down the road at the other salon on the chemistry side. I want to learn perfumery, because they're working on fragrances and stuff. And they said yes also. I guess when you say you'll work for free, a lot of times you have a better shot. So,
that's the trick.
So I didn't know what I was going to be working on, and then a couple of days later, I found out that it was actually going to be cologne for Michael Jordan. So which is still sold to this day in Foot Locker. It's where we actually launched it. So that was the height of his career when his Air Jordans were coming out. And
right.
So he was doing everything. So he was my very, very first celebrity client I worked with. And then that led to Jennifer Lopez. In the very early 2000s, I started working on a fragrance called Still.
Was that during the Ben Affleck J-Lo time period?
Yeah, that was exactly the time. She was dating Ben Affleck at the time, and it was the height of Jenny from the Block, the song that she had come out. And I was from Jersey, and she was. I always tell the story because it's kind of funny. She's from the Bronx, and I'm from Jersey, and she started calling me Vinny from the Block. That's why her song was really popular at the time. And we totally hit it up. And her fragrance was developed through a very big public company, but I was just there kind of as a consultant to learn and work on it. But I had a hand in on it too. So I'm very proud to say I worked on that fragrance. So it really started with those two. And it's not really a career you can advertise. You can't put out an advertisement and say, hey, do you want to develop a fragrance or a skincare line? So still to this day, 25 years later, I've never advertised a day in my life. It's all been just one referral from another, from doctors to celebrities to retailers to brands to private people, whoever can imagine.
So they employ your expertise and skill set to bring to market, wellness and beauty products. Basically, is kind of the philosophy
Right.
behind everything you do. I guess I'm curious, as someone who's now, aging into my early 30s, as I'm 31, you start to think about, the shampoo you use and the and the skincare
Right.
products you use, is it does it work? Do these things work? Do they really help, fight the aging, the aging battle?
They do. They do. Again, it's not nothing that we develop. I mean, topically can be overly life changing, but you for sure can mitigate, progression of aging. And of course, we know the SPF and that's something we of course we develop all the time, which is very very important when for aging. So besides plastic surgery, you're not going to change you're not going to change your whole entire face, right? But as far as fine lines, wrinkles, and feathering, tightening and firming, you're slowing down the aging process. Topically, absolutely, all the stuff we make when does perform that way.
So how do you feel, being an East Coast kid, getting out to California, and you're kind of in this world of celebrity, which sometimes seems to be pretty far from reality for most people, and you're chasing, there's a lot of vanity, there's a lot of materialism, and how do you not lose yourself, or do you lose yourself when you get out there and you're surrounded all this time by beauty and the pursuit of beauty? And I'm curious your thoughts on that.
Oh, I lost myself for sure. That's partly what the whole book's about. I mean, I lost myself big time. Definitely when I was into my 20s and early 30s. So I would say only in the last 6 or 7 years, I've really kind of been, more grounded. Because to your point, now you can you can walk across the street and go to Whole Foods and be standing next to, Beyonce. It's just kind of part of the culture out here. So you get kind of used to it. So I mean, I'm not starstruck, by anybody. I really kind of respect their craft and love all the people I work with, but it by no means is I don't say, oh my God, whoever's coming over today. And the funny thing I always tell them to make them laugh, because whether I have a private person, that maybe just a housewife, a wealthy housewife or a wealthy house husband, however you're going to do it these days, or a doctor, or a celebrity. I tell them all the same thing. All your money is just as green as the other person. So we treat everybody exactly the same. And really nobody gets any more attention or less attention, whether it's a brand or a private person or an A-list star.
Sure. Now, do you think with cosmetic surgery and all these things, how do people know what's too far and what's not? Because you see some people who get work done and they look beautiful and they don't age, and other ones who, you're like, you don't want to be the first, on some of the new,
Right.
Deals. So how do you how do you measure that? And is it just all personal preference? Is there a real, kind of science to it? Obviously Hollywood's on the cutting edge of all these things. And for those of us in the Midwest and the East Coast, these things might be a little less familiar to us, but, give us some insight as.
Yeah. Yeah, it really, to your point, it really is kind of your own opinion. Cause I mean, you can go, way too far in plastic surgery, and or not. I was always chasing that myself. Mine's kind of like a funny story, because I've had, probably genetic dysmorphic disorder my whole life, which I call it. So I've had 6 or 7 surgeries, and I look exactly the same as I always did. So my friends always joke to me and say, the surgeons put you to sleep and smacked you around and beat you up and woke you back up again. Because I wake up, and charge me for it. I look exactly the same. And then you have people that, like you said, went too far, but that's kind of their personal preference. So my opinion would be is that you do things very, very subtly and very gradually. And again, I don't know who's done or done what, but I'll use examples like, Demi Moore, who I think is breathtakingly beautiful. She's the same person that she always was.
Man.
Yeah, she looks exactly the same. I think I know she had some work done, but she did it the proper way.
Sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, Courtney Cox's example, and she's talked about it openly. That's the only reason why I'll talk about it, that she felt that she went way, way too far, right? And you have Jennifer Aniston, who's on the same show, she was in it at the same time. She's looked exactly the same she always has, because she does things gradually.
Sure.
Or maybe she hasn't done them at all. I don't know. But Courtney Cox, I know, has openly talked about it, that she went too far. And they almost kind of change your appearance. And another Another good friend of mine is Jennifer Grey, who was a star of Dirty Dancing, and she very openly talks about too is that she, when she did Dirty Dancing, she had her whole career was going on a rocket ship, and she went in and had a nose job and changed her nose, and she looked completely different, and all of a sudden she just stopped getting a lot of offers all the time, and she talked about it openly as well, just saying that she just went too far too fast and to change the way she looks, people didn't recognize her. So
Sure.
just and they're all very successful actresses, and they still are, but it threw kind of a little bit of a wrench, they always said, kind of in their
Sure.
in their process.
When you think about the process of writing a book, obviously you've had amazing stories and amazing relationships built over a career, rubbing elbows with the elites and helping them bring products to market, as well as bringing a lot of your own products to market. But what inspired you to write the book? I know it seems like it's a professional journey, but it's also a personal journey as well.
Yeah, so I'll give you a quick background on that, because actually the real reason I had, like I said, I had bad nose growing up, where I thought that I didn't like the way I looked. My hair was really kinky, curly. I had a disorder called trichotillomania, and anyone that has it listening to your podcast know exactly what it is. It's a hair pulling disorder, so you actually pull out your hair.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of in the family, like biting your nails, or people that are cutters, unfortunately, which they cause damage to themselves. So I had that starting at 11 years old, and I still have it to this day. It doesn't really actually go away. So to the point of that I was, because of that disorder, I was on the therapy, couch with psychologists and psychiatrists since 11 years old, like 2 times a week for almost 35 years. And about 10 years ago, I was in my normal 1-hour session, the same thing I've done for 35 years, different doctors. And this is my therapist about 3 years at this point. And I was about 20 minutes into the session, and I literally, my brain just snapped, and I said, you know what? I cannot hear myself talk anymore. I'm done. I cannot unpack this stuff anymore. It was like literally I couldn't hear myself talk anymore. I was done. So, and that night, I left the session 20 minutes into my 1-hour session, and that night I started writing my book, and I never went to a therapist again. And I put everything into the book over about 10 years, and got done about 8 months ago.
It's been therapeutic as well. It's a therapy
right.
In a way.
Absolutely. So instead of talking about it out loud, I tried to put it all down, and I feel a million times better, honestly, that I got it all out.
That's beautiful that it can be a muse for you. And I was able to read certain parts of the book, and it seems like you've had a very unique journey as an entrepreneur.
So unique is a good word to put it.
Yeah, right. And so what is one of your favorite messages about the book, or anecdotes or stories of the book that you think kind of highlight your put into encapsulate kind of your experience in writing this?
It's kind of a joke, and it's kind of not. I tell people, because since you read parts of the book, if you read the whole book, literally everything that could have gone wrong in my career kind of went wrong, but I still kind of made it through it. Yeah. So I tell people, buy the book, read it, enjoy it, and literally do absolutely nothing that was in it, and you'll be successful a lot more faster than I was. The whole journey was wrong. Every choice I made was wrong. Everything that happened was one worse than the next. I went died 45 times. I feel like I had 20 lives. So that's what really is it's really but I will say, it's really more about grit, and it's kind of a stereotypical thing to say, but where you say, just you got to keep going, got to keep going, got to keep going. But that's what I did. I went through so many problems and tribulations. The following morning, I just got up and kept going, and it's kind of it's a very typical thing to say, but when you read the book, everything went wrong that could have gone wrong went wrong.
Right. When you look at you're being a serial entrepreneur. What do you see yourself, kind of moving towards next? Is it continuing to follow the Hollywood, market? Are you kind of branching out on your own for your own, line of products? I know that when you look through the amount of products that you've been associated with, that you've helped bring to market, it's every product that, there's a lot of products that people know, that people see every day. So, where do you take a career in beauty and in this industry, and where do you see yourself going?
I did finally just recently finish my own personal product line. That was my goal from day one, back from being 10 years old. That was always my goal. And then what happened was I just coincidentally started falling into the pattern for doing it to other people, which I love, and I still love to today. I love working and developing products for other companies, but it kept putting my own personal product line on hold. So I finally just finished mine about a year ago, called Caviar and Diamonds. It's called Vincenzo Skincare Caviar and Diamonds, and it's the first one actually to have my own name for 25 years. So I finally got it done because I had to work. I got to work and perform for my customers. So there wasn't a lot of time for myself, and being a chemist and getting new technologies, presented to me all the time by our suppliers, I kept changing it and changing it and changing it and changing it. It's kind of like being a fashion designer and you keep wanting to change the dress so you make it perfect. And I finally said, I got to be like done with this. And
right, you got to put a line in the sand, right?
Right. So I finally did. And I had a really great connection to a distributor out in Dubai and in the UAE. And so I made this product line specifically originally for the Dubai market, the UAE, United Arab Emirates. So it's Dubai is one of the diamond capitals of the world. So we went kind of with that whole story. So we have the caviar and diamond is the story of it, and also the efficacious raw material that performs. We actually have real diamond syrup, which is diamond dust, in the product, and real caviar extract, etc. So the products.
How expensive is this shit?
It's pretty expensive. So it's a box of 4 products, but it's $1,500 US dollars for the whole kit. But it's 4 products. But there are actually very high end prestige products. You can buy like a moisturizer like Cream de la Mer or La Prairie, which is or $400 or $500 a jar by themselves. So it is expensive, yes, but it is a whole comprehensive program, right?
And it's made by it's made by the master.
That's right.
That's right.
Masturbator.
Masturbator. So, how has, you brought up something interesting I guess I didn't think about. What is the cutting edge technology in beauty right now? I know, technology's changing every industry, all worlds, all walks of life. So what is the cutting edge technology that only the elites in Hollywood know about?
Well, the main thing is really right now about performance, right? So I would say probably even as 10 years ago, you have all these really nice brands that are out there in the market that are like, oh, you have these clinical results in 4 to 6 weeks. And then about 5 years ago, it was like, about 8 to 10 days. Then a couple of years ago, it's like 2 or 4 days to get these results, which is all true, by the way. But now, how fast the world moves. I mean, what we do, like my personal product line, the ones I'm developing for customers, they had to have instant gratification. So really, if you were to use my caviar and diamond cream, you see and feel the results in 15 to 20 seconds on your skin. So it's that fast. So it has, we call it, tenters, like tenters in the skin, actually tent the skin on contact. So we call them kind of instant gratification products, because people don't want to wait. And you want to, and if you're going to spend that much money, if you're going to spend $1,500 on a kit of product, you want to see it perform, kind of before you buy it, right? So it's right. So have it right in front of your face. So it's really about the quickness and making things happen right on instant gratification.
Yeah, that is the world we're living in a little bit. So
nobody wants to wait.
No one wants to wait. So I'm so I'm 31. I'm starting to get some crow's feet here. And
I thought you were 56.
Am I aging that bad? Shit.
No, just kidding.
So I got some crow's feet here, and I got some grays coming in. So I think I'm just gonna let it ride for now. But I'm gonna have to look at this, this diamond dust.
Reevaluate. You'll reevaluate 43. I will get you. I will get that to you through my publicist. We'll get you something for sure.
You're gonna hook me up. I'm gonna get the friends and family discount. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
My wife's gonna love you.
You're gonna get a freebie. No discount. You're gonna get a freebie.
I love it. So when it talk, one thing I try to ask a lot of entrepreneurs is kind of their regiment for finding
why.
Yeah, right. Why is a great question. But their regiment for finding balance, and beauty goes hand in hand with fitness and mental fitness and mental endurance. And so, do you partake in any sort of physical activities that help kind of help the inside as much as the outside, and where do you kind of find that balance?
I do aerobic imagery is what I learned to do the best. So I just imagine myself working out. But I do try. When I was younger, I did go to the gym a lot. I had a trainer for a long time. I used to box a little bit, even with a trainer. But I honestly, in the last 10 years, I've been a big time swimmer since I was 4 years old. I was actually in the ocean swimming. So I do swim every single day. And that's really the only thing I do for myself. I don't lift anymore or go to the gym, especially with the virus. I can't go, but I am in my pool every single day. And I've discovered aerobic imagery.
I like that. Aerobic imagery. I'm going to use that, by the way. I'm going to steal that.
That's the way to go, for sure.
So now that you have your new skincare line out, it's out in, obviously Dubai. Do you plan on bringing that to the U.S. market, afterwards? Or
Yeah, actually, it never even made it to Dubai. We had because of the virus, the distributor we had actually fell through. So right now we have it just online. So just on my website right now, which is vincenzoskincare.com, is where you can get it. So that's the only spot you can get it at the moment. So it's not like in brick and mortar stores right now.
Yeah. So talk to me the process of writing this book. It sounds like it took you, years, and now that it's done, obviously you're out getting the word out about it, but, will you write another book? Did you enjoy the process?
I did enjoy the process. And again, when I mentioned about being therapy for me, I have a tremendous amount of learning disabilities. I have ADD, HED, OPP, PMS, ESPN, so all the ones that whatever they are, I got them all. So I'm a horrible writer and I'm a horrible speller. So right away, I had to get a ghostwriter. I dictated my story to a lady named Mickey Goodman out of Atlanta, Georgia. She's a brilliant writer. And I dictated my story for 7 years. I didn't physically put pen to paper. There's no way I could do it.
Sure.
But I feel for me, getting everything out, it was a better way. Cause I still was telling the story to somebody, like
right.
rather kind of therapist, right? And she made it into a beautiful, flowing, comprehensive book. So I didn't physically write it. But to your point, I mean, things happen to me all the time. I can go like out in the ocean right now behind me and get hit by a train. I don't know where the train would come from or how, but it would happen. So I could write a book again tomorrow morning and just keep doing it. So absolutely. A part 2 should be coming out, I would say at some point.
I was actually really surprised. I was looking through, kind of the size of this industry, and I don't know, did I see a $3 billion industry or maybe 30 billion? I think it was $3 billion. Either way, it's huge. And who are the
no, it's like 300 billion. Yeah,
it's 300 billion. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. $300 billion, which is insane. And I can imagine it's only growing because we're only all trying to, chase everlasting youth.
Well, think about it too. Really, when they categorize industries, it's really about the whole industry. So all the numbers in our industry are hair care, skin care, bath and body, baby. So you can't really find somebody that doesn't wash their face, shave or brush their teeth, right? So you had that category, and I wouldn't say that we're like disaster proof, but we kind of are. After 9/11, we had a dip, and after now with the virus, we had a little bit of a dip. But people still have to buy their hygienic products, so we don't really go away. Things do slow down a little bit. Like what you'll have is a slow down, like people going to the spa or having less facial or having less manicures and pedicures or not buying as expensive of products. Like my product line slowed down because of the high price point, right?
Right.
If you can get away with it, with a lower price point, people, I think right now that's a better, sweet spot for them.
Sure. So what, when you look at the category, and the industry being $300 billion a year, what are the highest growth parts, segments of that category? Is it baby? Is it bath and body? Is it cosmetic? Where's the growth coming from and where's the innovation at?
Yeah, it's all as far as the money, it's all the down and dirty stuff, the hair care, shampoo, conditioner, shaving, oral care, of course, really the stuff we need to actually just need to like live. And then you kind of have, so we have 3 categories. We have mass, masstige, and prestige, right? So mass is like your big box stores, Kmart, Sears, Costco, Target, those kind of places. And you have like masstige, which is like Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Saks, Nordstrom's, etc. And then prestige, which is like, Cream de la Mer and Chanel and La Prairie and all these high-end my caviar and diamond line is in the prestige market. So you have these different categories. So really a lot of the fuel comes from the mass market, which are the drugstores, Walgreens, CVS, all this. That's where the traffic is being driven as far as high volume stuff. And then you have people that just either have depending on what kind of financial situation that they're in, that can splurge on the high end prestige products like mine and other companies that can. So really you need the numbers are being pulled from the stuff you need to survive. It's kind of the base stuff.
Sure. Well, Vince, thank you so much for coming on with us and giving us a little bit of insight into your world. If people want to follow you and check you out, how do they find you? How do they buy your stuff?
Sure. I have all the social media stuff. So my Vince Spinnato Facebook page and then also Instagram too. It's all under my name, which is VINCE Spinnato, SPINNATO. So I have Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. They're all under my name. And then the product line is VincenzoSkincare.com, which is VINCENZO skincare.com, is where you can get the skincare line.
Okay, beautiful. Well, I'm looking forward to my friends and family discount on your line. And
I'm a man of my word. You're gonna get it. Watch.
I can't wait. I got to work on these these lines here. So looking forward to it. But you're a beautiful you're a beautiful soul. And thank you for coming on with us. And please, if there's anything we can do, please stay in touch. So thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Nice and pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, same here. Thanks. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. You can find Everything Borrowed on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Show your support and drop a 5-star review to help more people find our channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay up to date with us on Facebook, Instagram, and everythingborrowedpodcast.com. EBP is produced by Chelsea Cox, Jason Brown, and Vox Adams. Edited and filmed by Nick Ferguson. Art is by Adam Yarborough. Everything Borrowed is an After Hours Media production. Copyright 2021.